Hi everybody, welcome to Sheepish episode 17. Today is Monday, June 3rd, 2013. Welcome. It's a little late on Monday. It's really the only time I have to record this week. It is about 11:30. So it's Monday for a little while longer. I hope everybody had a great week, and yeah, let's go ahead and get started. My week so far, it's been busy, and it's only Monday. Eek. I'm going to apologize right now if you can hear anything in the background. You may be hearing my air conditioning, and it went on, of course, right as I pressed record, so hopefully it won't make too much noise. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. So currently on the roster, well, let's see. We have Celestarium, which I'm just not even going to drag out because I showed it to you guys last week. The Allons-y socks, which again have not really progressed much farther than this, which really means that I've been really way too busy right now, and I still need to finalize that pattern. Sorry guys, it will get out there. I just need more hours in the day or something. The Allons-y sock, you guys have heard me say this a few times, but it is in String Theory hand dyes. Yeah, String Theory hand dyes in the Caper Sock colorway and Snow White's dress, which was a club colorway for the Wool Girl Yarn Club. She did one on Fairy Tales. So yeah, perfect TARDIS blue. And that's living still in the TARDIS bag, along with all of the notes and everything for it. My Just a Lou TARDIS bag. Excuse me. Still have that cough. Hopefully it'll go away soonish. We'll see. So next up, the bow ties are cool socks. Honestly, I didn't touch them this week. I'm not even dragging them out. I'm kind of bored with them, and I don't know if it's because I just have so much on the needles and I keep adding more, or if it's just such a simple pattern that it's boring me, or I don't know. But I haven't touched them this week. I'm hoping that I'll get to them, or at least knit a few rounds on them to get them going, and get to the first sock, through the first sock, so I can then have to start the search for the ball of yarn for the second sock. And that might be also what's holding me back. I can't find that ball of yarn to save my life. It's somewhere. It's somewhere in the midst of all the yarn. I just need to find it. Excuse me. Sorry about that. But that does bring me to a couple of new things on the needles. If you follow me on Plurk, and I think this went through to the Sheepish Podcast Twitter account as well, you may have seen a new little swatch. I was very good and swatched for a new project, and I didn't buy new yarn for it. The yarn that I was gifted from Michelle, traveling knitter, my friend traveling knitter, when we went to Sheep and Wool, when I was searching for this beautiful yarn with drape that was in my head. And she happened to have the Tess's Silk and Ivory. And she had plenty of it. And I finally got around to swatching. And I'm actually going to show you, sorry, if I can get out of frame a little bit. Now, this is not the best picture. I'm not really loving how they styled it, but I saw, I don't remember what blogger I saw it on, but I saw somebody's finished piece and I was in love. This is from the Vogue Knitting Spring Summer, so the current Vogue Knitting. Honestly, it's the only thing in here that I like. You win some, you lose some, but I really, really have been wanting to knit that. So I am using the Tess's Ivory and Silk, or silk and ivory. In the, I believe it's the reds. For a little while there, I thought it was hibiscus, but it's not bright enough. It's not pink enough to be hibiscus. It's got definitely a little, I mean, it's like a lighter red, so it could have been hibiscus in one incarnation or another, but the closest I can think that this is it's reds. I have 3 skeins of this. It is, whoops, let's see if I can find where I put the tag. Here, tag. There we go. So it's Tessa's Designer Yarns. Let's see if we can get that to focus. 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 There we go. Tessa's Designer Yarns. Apparently when I'm behind it, it doesn't like to focus. And this is partially ripped, but you'll get the idea. So the silk and ivory, 50 wool, 50 silk. And this is 666 yards. However, I have the other 2 skeins, which I believe are 675 yards. It's listed in Ravelry as 665 yards for each skein, so yeah, I have more yardage than it says in Ravelry, but I have 3 skeins of this, and I did a nice swatch, and I actually was good, and I washed and blocked the swatch because it's lace, and I wanted to see how it was going to actually turn out. The pattern calls for US 2s for the ribbing and US 4s for the lace on a DK weight. And this is a DK, even though it looks like it is. Let's see if you can see that. It looks like it's finer than a DK. It looks to me like it's like a heavy fingering or a sport. It's certainly knitting up like that, but I actually like that. So I swatched the lace pattern on 4s, and something told me to go ahead and swatch it on 3s, just to see what I was going to get. I happen to like the pattern. I got better with the 3s, but I still was not hitting gauge. I was probably about a half stitch, excuse me, half a stitch off per inch. For me, that's not as huge of a deal. Yes, it's going to make for a bigger garment, and I probably could have gone down a needle size, or probably could have gone down a full size, but I didn't want to mess with that. I want it to be kind of big and drapey because it's going to be open, and I'm going to be wearing a tank top underneath it or a camisole. So I didn't want it to be really super, super big, because the 4s, it was just going to be huge. The 3s, it's still going to be huge, but I wasn't going to knit this on 2s. So I actually made a couple of adjustments. So the ribbing is knit in on US 2.5, so 3 millimeters. Look at that. Look at how gorgeous that is. Excuse me. And the reason I actually went up a half a size on the ribbing is because I have hips. My hips by no means are tiny. No. So I wanted to get a little bit of extra out of the ribbing. I knew that I was going to get some stretch. This is actually living on a 32-inch needle, and it's got some stretch to it. So, but it's comfortable. So I wanted to get some extra stretch out of that. And then I've just started the lace pattern, and I don't think that you'll be able to see any of that. Maybe. So it's a bunch of, you've got ribs and you've got yarn overs. Yeah, I mean, it's actually, you know, I'm in the 300s on the stitches. It's actually not going that badly. It's just a lot of stitches, so it takes a while to get around one round. So that's that. It's from the bottom up. I'm still trying to figure out the arm increases because it's basically a dolman, so you're coming up, and they're calling it a bat wing, but it comes around and ends like around there. So I'm assuming that it's taken up in the pattern somehow, because there's nowhere that I can find that it says cast on X number of stitches. I also could be reading that wrong. Lord knows I've been reading it when it's late at night and tired. I'm tired, and I really shouldn't. But yeah, so that's new project on the needles and on new needles. And I'm going to talk about these a little bit more later. I'm going to keep this out. But these are the new carbons interchangeables. Let's see. See if I can get it to focus on the join. Oops. There we go. So you can kind of see the join right where my thumb is. You know, I'll talk about these later. But yeah, so new sweater, new needles. Kind of nice. I'm actually feeling the knitting mojo again, so that's a good thing. Of course, it's red. It's me. And then, excuse me, my monitor's over there, and I just want to make sure it stays up. And then I started teaching a sock class, my 4-week top-down sock class at Fiberspace. And we're using the pattern that I wrote for the class, my Bondi socks pattern. And I broke it down over 4 weeks. And so I decided that I was going to cast on. I don't always cast on a pair of socks with each class, and I certainly don't always knit my own pattern. But I decided that I was going to pull some socks or some sock yarn out of stash, and I was going to knit them using my pattern. So this is what I've got so far. Oops. Wow, that just washed out. Okay, I'm looking at my monitor, and it'll flash, like, oh, right there. That's a pretty good color representation of all the blues and the browns and the natural colors. Seeing if I go up closer, it washes out. But this is, it's Mad Tosh sock. So it's 395 yards of superwash merino. It's 100%. Obviously fingering weight. So yeah, 395 yards, and it's in the sea wash colorway. And if you remember, I talked about this on my first podcast, I believe. This is yarn that I got from Windy Nitty in Chicago on my last trip for work to Chicago, so last October. And yeah, it's interesting because you lose some of that texture with all of the color, but I love the color. So I'm going to knit a few rounds on this and see if I completely lose the texture of my socks. Either way, I'll probably just go ahead and knit them anyway because I love the yarn. I love the look of the yarn. These will probably not be for me since the person who I think that they're going to be for watches the podcast, and she probably could guess who she is. I'm not saying. However, actually most of you could probably guess who this might be for, but so yeah. So the Bondi socks in the Mad Tosh sock in the sea wash colorway, and that's actually living in a bag. Well, actually the two projects, the sock as well as the sweater, are living in a Jessalou project bag, of course, but a large box bag, and it's my Spaceballs bag, which I know I showed you guys when I got them, or when I got all those bags that time, but it's the first time I'm getting to use this. It makes me very happy. I may have caught a Jessalou update because Michelle told me that she had caught one and then told me that another one was supposed to go up. Yeah. I don't need any more project bags probably, but they're pretty. And they're useful because I always have a work in progress somewhere. When I get those, I will probably go ahead and move the socks out of those, and then that way the sweater can just grow in this big, in the big box. So yeah, that's the current roster. They're really, yeah, they're, one of these days I will have something to add to the alumni. One of these days. But right now, I just want to knit all the things. I have startitis like nobody's business. And the fact that I've only started 2 projects is a very good thing when I'm in this mood. So hopefully I can channel some of that startitis into actual knitting. And the fact that I've gotten past that rib and I've gotten into the first couple of rows of lace, that's a pretty big thing on that sweater because that was a lot of ribbing. A lot of 1x1 ribbing. Yeah. So yeah, that's it for current roster. All right, so the scouting report. I don't really have much for it this week. It'll definitely be a review. I did, when I was at Fiberspace on Saturday, I did pick up, I believe it's a new knit scene, and I haven't had a chance to look through it yet. So we'll see how I like that, but that's not what I'm going to review. I am actually going to review the new Carbons interchangeable needles from Knitter's Pride. I know that I talked about the Carbons needles when I first started to work with them on the Alonzi sock. And, you know, I mean, I like them. I like how lightweight they are. I like the pointiness on the sock. But the rest of the sets just don't seem as pointy. And that's not a bad thing. It's just if you're really used to pointy, it's a bit of an adjustment. But I've liked them enough to want to try them in different sizes. And I had heard that they were going to be doing interchangeable sets for a while, and I hadn't heard like anything concrete on that. And last week, Friday, I got an email from Fiberspace saying that they got some new yarn in and they got the new Carbons interchangeables. So I thought that I'd give them a try, so I called them up and had them hold a set. And unexpectedly went in on Saturday to drop off the finishing project of Doom and another project, and then picked up the needles. So these are the deluxe set. So these go from 2.5. So I'm going to move that back there. Oops, I just dropped something, but oh well. Oh, I dropped a set of needles. Oops. So they go from 2.5, and you've got 3s, 4s, 5s, 6s. And then you've got the 7s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. So there's that. I guess that one of the things that could be better would be the elastic going in on this. But if you don't like their case and you know of other interchangeable cases, they'll fit in there nicely. The set comes with, okay, I'm dropping things all over the place. A 24-inch needle, or a cord for to make a 24-inch needle, cords to make 2 32-inch needles, and a 40-inch cord. And then you get 1, 2, hang on, I'm going to go out of frame for just a sec. Then you get these, which are neat. If you put something on hold, you put a project on hold and grab the needles for something else. They're little, sorry for the crinkling. I'm just going to grab 1 or 2. Oops. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, and I'm going out of frame, sorry. They tell you what size needle you were using on your project, and on the back side, yep, it'll say what the millimeter is. Just hang them on the cord, and then you put the stoppers on the cord. It comes with 4 sets of stoppers and cord keys. You can kind of see that that's kind of all over the place. If you use the Knit Pick sets of interchangeables, you should be familiar with the cord keys. With the Knit Picks needles, I wasn't happy with the cord keys because it didn't do really a damn thing to help tighten my needles. However, with these, I really like that they do give you a little bit of tightness without feeling like you're completely budging everything. So I'm going to pull this out. And I'm actually putting a little bit of, like, applying some stress on that, and it's not coming apart. That is something I never could have done with Knit Picks. And that's going to sell me on them right there. I love how lightweight they are. With some interchangeable sets, you have very, very heavy tips, and then the cord is not nearly as flexible. So I like how flexible the cords are. They're just like the rest of the sets, the rest of the carbons. I like how lightweight the needle tips are. So far, I'm a fan. Ask me in a little while, ask me in a couple months if I'm still using the set. I'm a girl who likes Addies, or I used to really love Addies. They were my go-to needle all the time. The Addie lace, when they first came out, I mean, I used to use the regular Addie turbos all the time. When the Addie lace first came out, I wasn't really happy with them, and then I grew to love them. But Addies are just inconvenient to find in the area. And that's not to say that there aren't shops that have them. They're just not as convenient to me as going to Fiberspace is, because I'm going to be at Fiberspace to teach. Or if I want to just drop in, it's a lot easier to drop in there than it is to one of the stores that have the Addies. Now, that being said, and while I have sets upon sets upon sets of Addies, my needle tastes have changed. I've discovered that I love my signatures. I love the carbons. I love the Haya sharps because I like the tips on them. And you can kind of see here from this that the tips on these threes, not incredibly sharp. They're sharper than some, but they're not incredibly sharp, which is kind of nice when you're working with a yarn that can split a lot. So, I mean, I have found that, I mean, I've owned these for all of Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, so 3 days, and I'm liking them. I like the feel of them. It's taking my hands a little bit longer to get used to them, but like today I picked them up, no problem. I didn't have that adjustment period with my hands like I've been having for the last couple of days, so it seems like everything's working and going nice and smoothly. So yeah, I'm fairly pleased with these. Like I said, they're not inexpensive, but they're not massively expensive either. The deluxe set is, I believe it's $125. I believe that's what they were selling them for at Fiberspace. I know that you can go online and get a smaller set, so I think they have like a beginner set. If I remember correctly on Webs, I think it was Webs, they had like the beginner set, which had the 2.5s to the 6s, and then the large set, which were the 7s to the 10s. I'm not going to use the 10s all that much, but I'm going to get some good use out of all the rest of them. And when I looked at the breakdown and trying to figure out what I wanted, I figured that I was going to get a better deal, and it was going to serve me better to get the deluxe set and just go ahead and shell out for it. I know that you can get extra cords online. I know that Fiberspace did not have any. I don't need them yet, so that's okay. I'm sure that they'll get them in, so if you're local, you might want to, keep an eye on that. But yeah, I really like them so far. So yay, new needles. Which brings me to the other thing, Signature. Now, you guys know how much I love my Signature needles. I have sent that US 5 back to get that replaced, and they were wonderful with it. They've got excellent customer service. I got a couple more pairs of Signatures when I was at Sheep and Wool with Michelle, and I got the email that everybody else got about Signature switching to a convertible needle. I'm not sure how I feel about that because they were very, very quick to stress that it's convertible. It's not interchangeable, which means that every time you buy a needle, you're going to have to buy the cord, like the needle tips, you'll buy the cords. And if you want to get bigger or longer cords, you might have 3 cords for one needle that can only fit on one set of needle tips. That's my understanding. I commented on Facebook on their post where they announced the needles, and I asked if they were going to be doing fixed circulars anymore, and I haven't heard back. I mean, I haven't looked at the post either in a while, but I didn't hear back at least that day that they did the announcement. I don't know. It seems like it would be a lot more. It'll cost a lot more in the long run to get cords as well as tips, and then just kind of keep getting cords. I mean, I understand where they're going with that, but if I've got a whole bunch of cords that only belong to one set of tips, it's a little inconvenient, at least for me. Might not be for anybody else, but just for me. Will I try them? Probably. I'll probably spend the money and try a set. I know that they've got 7s back in stock in the convertibles. So, I might get those just to see. But since, if you're looking for convertible needles, it would seem like you'd want to have interchangeables. That's just me. I know that interchangeables serve my purposes better, so I'm happy that I have this set. I don't know, I might get the Hayas at some point, but really I like the carbons. I'm happy with the carbons. So yeah, that is my review on the carbons. I really like them. We'll see if I keep using them. I love the fact that they go down so small to a 2.5. And that's also another reason why I did the rib on 2.5s, because that's what I had. And I wanted to use the new needles. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the scouting report. So that brings us to what's making me happy this week. There are a few things. First off, let's go ahead and just knock out the hockey stuff, because the Boston Bruins are pretty much handing the Pittsburgh Penguins their butts on a platter. That makes me happy. I know that I've got Penguin fans that are friends out there, and I love you all, but I'm really glad that Boston's handing you your butts. Yeah. As a Caps fan, I have issues with both teams. I have a bigger issue with the Penguins. I love you. So, yay. And then on the West Coast, or the Western Conference, we've got the LA Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks. And yeah, I'd be happy with either. However, with the Blackhawks being #1 in the NHL and having that huge long run of wins earlier this year, I would love to see them break the President's Cup curse. And if you don't know the curse, the President's Cup winner is It goes to the team who is number one in the entire league. So Eastern Western Conference, they are number one in the NHL, and that's the Chicago Blackhawks. They have had an incredible year. So a lot of times, and if you look this up, you'll see that this doesn't apply to everybody, everybody who's won the President's Cup. But it really is one of those things that if more often than not, the team that wins the President's Cup does not win the Stanley Cup. And generally they go out in spectacular fashion, as in they just fizzle. The Blackhawks are doing so well. So there's part of me that wants them to win the Stanley Cup just because. I would be happy with that. I would be really happy with that, actually. Out of the 4 teams that are still in this, like I said, I'd be happy with the Kings or the Hawks, but I think that the Hawks, I think they're going to do it. So, yay! So yay, hockey. Very, very happy. Makes me very, very happy. So, yeah. Yeah, so what else is making me happy? I believe I made a promise to buy a wheel today. I know. I'm sure that a few of you already know who, and some of you who are on Plurk and on her group in Ravelry have seen the post, and I'm not going to say anything until she announces it on her podcast of who it is. But somebody posted today that they wanted to sell their wheel, and they were asking for a very good price, and it's the Ladybug, which is the wheel that I want. And I happened to see it, and I happened to be the first to respond, and we went back and forth on a few private messages. Sorry about the coughing, everybody. Trying to figure out, when would be a good time for money to be exchanged, because right now things are a little tight. However, I believe I've convinced my dad to help me out with it as an early birthday gift. So, yay! So in a few weeks' time, I may be the proud owner of a wheel, of a Ladybug, which makes me really, really happy and very excited. And now I'm like, crap, I need to learn how to spin on a wheel. So if you guys have any good resources, that would be great. I would love to hear them. I know that I'm going to probably check out the couple of the yarn shops that are in the area, still far away from me, but that are in the area, so I can take some private lessons. And I have a friend who wants to rent a wheel, and she wants to take some lessons with me as well. So that could be very fun. And it would help me use up all the gorgeous fiber that I have. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. I hope everything goes well. Like I said, Dad's going to help me out a little bit as an early birthday gift. So yay, happy birthday to me. I get a year older, but I also get a wheel. And really, it's one of those things that I'd like to say that it's like fate, because on Saturday, I forget exactly why, I was talking about spinning for some reason, and I asked Dad if he wanted to see the wheel that I wanted. So I pulled it up online, and I showed him the Shocked website and the wheel, and he's like, well, where would you put it? Going back and forth. And I'm like, but no, I really want this. This is what I'm going to get. I will get this at some point. I'd like to get it sooner rather than later, but I will save my money and I will get it. And already thinking that maybe I could ask for some help on that when I actually order it. And I've been thinking about it all weekend, and then this. And that's kind of awesome. It's like fate. The knitting gods went, you have had a crap day today. We're going to give you what you need. We're going to let you get what you need on this. Yay. So that like turned my day around 10,000-fold. It made it so much better. So yeah, that's also making me happy, the idea of getting a wheel. Mom, yeah, I know you're still away, and you're probably not gonna see this till you get back. Remember, you love me. Um, Also, Mom's still away. She is still in Bolivia. She comes back this coming Sunday, so we're all fairly excited. I think we talked to her earlier this evening. I think she's pretty much ready to come home as well. It's really hot down there. It's really humid. That's what we keep hearing a lot of. I think she's really excited to come home as well, but she's had a good trip, and that's really, really cool. So it'll be good to see her again. I was, I actually on my Twitter account, so not the Sheepish Podcast one, but mine, I was saying this weekend that it's really adorable how much my dad misses my mom. He gets very grumpy if he doesn't hear from her. And mind you, we've heard from her about every other night. She always says, I'll call tomorrow, and then forgets and calls the night after that. So like on that off night, he gets very grumpy. And then the moment he hears our voice, he's all smiley and in the best of moods. It's absolutely adorable. But yeah, so we'll all be happy to have her back. I think the cats will be happy to have her back because they're kind of sick of the two of us. Excuse me, I need to get rid of this cough and I don't know how. Let's see, what else is making me happy this week? Really? Thank you guys for the messages, the kind words. I actually went in the introduce yourself thread, and there were just so many of them that I just kind of did the blanket. Thank you so much for watching. I read every single one of those introductions. You guys are awesome, and I love learning about you guys. I do have a couple of things about the RAV group. Sorry, I'm a little fidgety right now. Excuse me, I'm actually going to look over here, sorry. There is a thread on there that was started by Genetics, and she's actually coming to the DC area with her family this summer. And I know that I've answered on this thread, and we've had another person answer on the thread. But if you're in the DC area and you have ideas of things that she can do with her family, I mean, we've suggested the zoo, the Smithsonian, Washingtonian Magazine put out an article, I think it was last year. It took me a while to find it, but I linked that on there. But if you've got any ideas of, what she can do with her family, I don't think she knows where she's staying just yet. So Maryland, DC, Virginia. I think they're going to have access to a car. Join the thread, or join that thread and post your 2 cents, because I think that she's getting a plan going, and she's probably really good on there, or she's probably good to go, but I'd love to give her as many options as possible. So yeah, if you could do that, that's great. And secondly on the group, sorry, I'm just looking at the screen. Where is it? So my idea for the knit along of what you're going to knit on, what are you knitting on during the game? That kind of fizzled, and that's okay. So we had one person enter, and so MKZZGL, Kristen from St. Cloud. I know that you're a guest in the group, and if you're watching, I'm actually going to send you a RAV message because you were the one person that's responded, and so you win. I don't know if, I didn't really determine any prizes, but you win a pattern, so something that can be gotten on RAV, up to $10 because obviously that way I can send it to you via Rav. And yeah, so congratulations, you won. I am definitely thinking of other things that we can do. I'm thinking, it seems like every podcast seems to have a what did you knit or what are you knitting on, finished objects for, whatever month. And, I mean, everybody's doing it, but I think it's a good idea. I just don't know if I should bring it into this group because, again, people are doing it. However, it gives everybody a chance to win something. So let me know what you think, because I think that I am going to throw up the, if I'm getting a lot of feedback saying that yes, you'd like to be able to show off everything, what you finished in the month of June, we can definitely work with that. And so, and I know I want to see what you guys knit, and I can't always get to your individual pages, so it's kind of a nice way to be able to do that. So yeah, that's about it for this week. Whoops, excuse me while I get the monitor back up. It's a short-ish show, not really, really super short because I ramble. Okay, it's less than an hour. That should be good. Anyway, have a great week, everybody. If you'd like to reach me this week, you can reach me via email, sheepishpodcast@gmail.com. I'm on Rav as Knit Girl, spelled conventionally. I am on Twitter and on Plurk as Sheepish Podcast. Sorry, I keep coughing. Yeah, and if you haven't joined the group on Ravelry, please do. I love getting people in the group. I love seeing that the numbers are going up. I'm not doing this because of numbers. It still amazes me that you guys want to watch. But, I mean, it's a nice little group on there. We're really quiet, and so hopefully this summer we'll be able to get a lot more just action going on. But yeah, so anyways, have a great week. Again, I'm sorry. If this is your first time watching, thank you so much. I hope to see you back. And if it's your 17th time watching, thank you again for coming back. I appreciate it. And I will see you guys next week, hopefully. Bye.